Joining us now to discuss is Abe Hamadeh, the Trump-endorsed Republican candidate for Arizona's 8th District. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be with you, Chanel.
Abe, tell us about this story. We hear stories of all of these election shenanigans coming out of Arizona. It's hard to understand. It's hard to discern what to believe and what not to believe. Tell us more about this missing fob.
Right. Well, it's actually a lot worse than what people can even think and imagine. Believe me, I've been put through the ringer since the last election when my race was stolen by 280 votes out of 2.5 million, and we're still in the courts, believe it or not, Chanel, on that. But with this missing key fob is really interesting. It was a temporary worker at the Maricopa County Elections Department. Supposedly he had access, a temporary worker had access to a set of keys, and he stole it. It was on camera. But what's really interesting is who he is. This guy, he was associated with George Soros affiliated groups. He was actually, he's taken photos with many Democrats, politicians. And the moment that he was caught and arrested, within a few hours, Maricopa County, they were claiming that there was no political motivation. I'm a former prosecutor at the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. How could you say such a comment like that? They said that without them investigating, and this is where it's all starting to come out, his deep ties to George Soros and the Democrat groups. And it seems like this big cover-up is happening here in Maricopa County. And that key fob had access to all of the election equipment. So now the county is saying they have to reset all of the equipment. It's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars to do so. But it goes to show you the lack of accountability that Maricopa County has right now. And this is why me and Kari Lake, we've been fighting so hard for election integrity since the last election, because we know what's going on. It's not just the machines. It's not just the voting rolls. It's death by 1,000 cuts. This is what they're doing. And it's really going to take all of us to be on guard. We know that the Marxists are not going to hand over the keys of power so easily. So, I'm glad he was caught, but it worries me that the cover-up was already starting in the media out here. They're not investigative journalists at all. They're just basically propagandists for this regime. But now apparently his court date was set for November 6th, the day after the election, which is kind of odd and interesting. I'm sure it's going to be postponed, having worked in that office previously. But there needs to be a thorough investigation, because this man, he had a history of a lot of thefts and crimes over the past few years. So he's obviously doing it for money. But how would he know to get a key fob like that? Somebody was directing him. So this is where it requires a thorough investigation, not a cover-up, it seems what the county is doing right now.
And I don't want to get too technical, but does this fob, as I understand it, this fob actually is allowing someone to get access to all machinery and equipment in Maricopa County, but does that mean that the entire state is affected, or is it just a fob that is kind of sequestered to one county? And it's no small county, I understand that, but is it sequestered?
Yeah. Well, we run the elections with 15 different counties, but here Maricopa County is about 60 to 70% of the entire state's population. So that's why Maricopa County is so important. What the county is claiming is that there was added security measures besides the fob. There's a password, but the password is actually the same password on all the fobs. And I think it was a number sequence of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something like that. These people, they don't take election security seriously, and we're starting to call them out on it, and they're being exposed. And I hope the judiciary takes it very seriously. Doesn't seem like they have been with our lawsuits that me and Kari Lake have been fighting. But there just needs to be a lot more investigations on it, and it really goes to show you, they're trying to claim this as a victory, that they stopped this. Well, I have a lot of questions. How did a temporary worker even have access to gaining this key? And why would they claim that it had no political motivation within a few hours of his arrest? So clearly there is a cover-up, and this is where it requires honest and good investigative journalists to question authority.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.